What do I yearn for in life and why? Well, I yearn to be content with myself, being happy with myself for once, and because it's something I never really was. I guess when I was younger, I was pretty vain and I was pretty cocky. But as I grew up, I lost a lot of my self esteem, a lot of my self confidence, and I kind of I'm constantly jealous of people thinking, oh, she's prettier, oh, she's much more good looking, oh, she's much more intelligent, oh, she's a lot funnier. Basically, I doubt every single one of my personality traits, even things that I probably am good at, and that I think is my my biggest flaw, and it's what makes me feel inferior as well. So what I really wish my biggest goal in life is to find that personal happiness, being comfortable with myself. I think that would be my biggest success, and I still don't know how to achieve that. What tends to weigh on your decisions? Do you think about people, pros, cons, how you feel about it, etc.? Depends on the situation. Like in a conflict, when I hear I want to hear both sides of the story first, and then I decide with which side I'm gonna side on, and that usually brings conflict upon myself, because I don't like siding with a person just because oh she's closer to me, oh she's my friend. If she's not being reasonable, I can't side with that person, and I try to think. Um, and when I do decisions for myself, I also think about the reasons and then the consequences that my decision might have. And I always think about two aspects: what is better and what will benefit for me, and what is the most what is the best choice in terms of future, in terms of the moment. Depends really, but the best choice if we think about more rational and pragmatic issues and questions. While the other side is more on focus on my interests and my tastes. Then I join them together, cross them over, and whatever's in the middle is usually what I decide. Um, when working on a project, what is normally your emphasis? Do you like to have control of the outcome? My brain, my thoughts are a lot faster than except the execution. So coming up with an idea is a very fast process, but then working on it tends to be slow if I actually finish it. And when I do finish a project, I am very happy with finishing it, but I may or may not be happy with the outcome, and the outcome never is exactly the way I planned. It might differ a bit, or it might be identical, I never know. When you want to learn something new, what feels more natural to you, for you? Are you more prone to be hands-on, to theorize, to memorize? I am more prone, if it's a technology thing or something where there's a manual of instructions, but you can actually learn by using it, I probably am more hands-on. But philosophy, I cannot memorize. I suck at memorizing, so I have to understand it. Even with history and stuff, I understand the thing first. I find examples, I use analogies to understand something, and that is how I learn things. For me, examples and, for example, with languages, for me, TV shows and music is the best way to learn. I suck at learning through grammars and through reading theory, that aspect. Though I love areas of theory like philosophy, which is pretty contradictory, but whatever. How organized do you think of yourself as? My brain, my thoughts are pretty chaotic. My emotions as well. I don't understand my emotions that well. And for example, I can cry with TV shows, movies. I can be emotional with that. But when a best friend leaves town, I think I'm gonna be emotional, and then I'm not. I cannot transmit my emotions so well in the moment. I don't know. I cannot act on physical displays of affection, on public displays of affection. And until 2 or 3 years ago, I wasn't comfortable with hugs or saying love you. Not even I love you. It's more like love you or something like that. I think those words are overrated and overused in ways that they're not supposed to be used. And I think in that case, actions speak louder than words. But yeah. I'm not comfortable with emotions, expressing them, and my thoughts are pretty chaotic. But when I work, I am pretty much a perfectionist in terms of like organizing my ideas that are all mixed up in my head. I organize them before I transmit them, and but workspace wise and everything else is pretty chaotic. I don't like a clean working space. I like a messy one because it feels more homey, I guess. um, are you the kind that thinks before speaking, or do you speak before thinking? Do you prefer one-on-one communication or group discussions? I think before I speak or act. Uh, Sometimes, other times I speak first, especially in answers and in like presentations and stuff. And I don't organize my ideas. Don't have that much time to organize my ideas, like this moment. But before like saying something that might have an impact on my future, I do think a lot, and especially with actions, and I question myself a lot. I have a lot of doubts, and sometimes I don't really act on it because of those doubts and insecurities. And I prefer one-on-one communication. Do you jump into action right away, or do you like to know where you're jumping before leaping? I answered this before. I look before I leap. Does action speak more than words? Yes. I also answered this before. How do you act when you're stressed out? I block out my friends, family. I try not to show what I'm feeling. I block it all out. I disguise with sarcasm and happiness, apparent happiness, or laughter, or being easygoing, or I tend to latch onto nasty habits like smoking, being a shopaholic, and nail biting, overeating, wanting to party, to forget everything. But that's the second phase. The first phase is probably blocking everything out. Or first phase, or I'd say the most extreme case when I really don't want to be with anyone and just try to understand